Hey, welcome to Lasers, Dragons, Keyboards. I'm Aaron.
I'm Liberty Spiedel Hart.
I'm Josh, and today on Lasers, Dragons, and Keyboards, we have the return of Becky Dean to talk about her new book, first in the series, Rogue Pursuit. Becky is a fan of adventures, both real and fictional. When she's not writing or traveling, she can be found drinking tea, watching science fiction shows, or Jane Austen adaptations. I can talk, or quoting The Lord of the Rings. Though she is a proud Baylor grad and lives in Texas with her husband, she remains a Southern California girl at heart. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, we had you
Yeah.
on, was it last spring?
Sometime last year, the
Yeah,
days
when
run
you're,
together.
yeah, it
Yes.
really does. But you've got a new series out now that's not just laced with fun, geeky references, but actually a space opera. So
Yes.
why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's basically, like you said, classic straight up space opera. The first book is called Rogue Pursuit, and it released just a couple weeks ago. And it's about a smuggler and a spy on opposing sides of a brewing galactic revolution. And they have to team up to track a rogue agent across the galaxy before he starts a war. And so it has all the things I love about space opera. So, kind of the banter and the fun characters with kind of questionable morality and space pirates and lots of cool planets with settings and planet hopping and space battles and shootouts and all the action. And then, of course, romance, since I also write romance. So,
Woohoo.
Cool.
Of course. So, uh, jumping from romance to sci-fi, is there a story behind that?
I actually started writing science fiction and fantasy. The first few books that I wrote, they just didn't get published. And so, the first contemporary book I wrote was the one that came out last year. And then I wrote a couple of those and went back to my love of science fiction and just sort of the way the schedules worked out. And it came back to this, and I enjoy writing both. I feel like my books have a lot of similarities between both genres. So there's the romance, there's a lot of travel aspects in both of them. There's sort of the adventure and the quick pace and the banter, and so I think if you like both genres, there's a lot of crossover appeal there.
Hey, you were under contract for the space opera first, weren't you?
About 2 weeks apart. Yeah, I got the call
Oh.
for this one first, and then the contemporary one 2 weeks later. So it was little
Wow.
bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. So
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
remember that.
the contemporary ended up coming out first because the publisher for my science fiction, Aethon Books, they've been really great, but they do rapid release, and so they wanted the whole series written before the first one came out. So I had the
Okay.
first one finished, and I had a rough draft written for the second one, but I hadn't written the third and fourth one yet. So
Mhm.
had to get those done.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering about the whole rapid release thing because I saw, oh, hey, here's book one. And then you go to the Amazon page, oh, there's other ones lined up too. Like, wow, that was fast.
Yeah, they were all finished. I finished, I think, the fourth one toward the end of last year. So
All right.
Boy, if I did that, I'd never get anything.
last year
I,
was a
I
little
like
intense.
I like to joke that I'm the world's slowest writer too, though. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I write fast and I write two genres, so it's kind of last year was a little intense trying to get the fourth book of this one and the third of my contemporary romance ones done within like the same 2 month span before I left the country for 2 weeks. So
I bet.
it was
Wow.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do remember you talking about that in some of our private conversations because we're friends outside
Yeah,
of the podcast, obviously, and
yeah, I
and
was
I was
nearly
just
losing
kind
Exactly.
of
my
going.
mind.
I'm like, I'm glad it's on your shoulders and not mine because
I
I
mean,
couldn't
that's
have
a
gotten it
lot of
down.
writing.
But
Yeah.
now it's fun because now it's all the books coming out, all at the
Hmm.
same time. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I started reading it. I'm what my Kindle says like 5% in. Here, let's see, where am I actually at? I think page 21, I believe. So I've just like
Okay.
barely started. Starting a day job. I don't have time to read or anything. Yeah, page 21. Yeah, so I'm 5% in. Darn day job. Don't have time to read or anything. But I got into this like, all right, this character's crazy. What? What's your favorite character in this book?
Yeah, in this book, so I actually really do love the main character, Perrin. She's sort of how the whole series started, is sometimes with my writing, I come up with like a premise or a plot, and sometimes it's a character. And for this one, it was her, was kind of the first inspiration. You haven't gotten to the middle yet. You'll meet a space pirate later, and he's my other favorite character who becomes the main character in the second book. Because I
Oh,
liked him so much in this one that I had to give him his own story. So, but probably those
Nice.
are, I love them all, but those are probably Perrin because she started it all. Is Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So do you think that any well-known stories influenced this book? I mean, obviously the quintessential uh, space opera is Star Wars. So did Han have any influence in this?
Yeah, so when I knew I was going to write a smuggler, I actually did go back and rewatch Solo a couple different times. Um,
nice.
and then
There's a movie that
Firefly
didn't get
also.
enough love.
Yeah, it wasn't brilliant, but I thought it was really good. I thought for somebody who wasn't um, the original Harrison Ford, like I thought he did a great job, as good a job
Mhm.
as somebody could have done.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought there were a lot of great action scenes, so I kind of used some of those. And then obviously looked at some of the Firefly stuff, sort of the classic Misfits in the Galaxy. And then because the first one, the other main character, Ty, is a spy, some of the Mission Impossible, but also, so there's a 2015 action spy comedy called The Man from Uncle, and it's sort of a remake of an older TV
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
show. It has
Yep.
Henry Cavill, and I just loved that movie. It's kind of quirky. I thought that was also very underrated.
Well,
And
if you
so
want
it's
spy
about,
references, gotta go with James Bond.
well, yeah, James Bond too, kind of that and the Mission Impossible. And I love the Bourne trilogy, but
Oh,
the
those are good too. Yeah.
probably the influence for this book the most in the spy side was that Man from Uncle, because it's set in the 60s and it's a CIA agent and then a KGB agent who end up having to work together. And so I just loved sort of the tension of they're sort of on the same side, but they're really not on the same side. And at the end, how's that all going to work out when they've kind of come to like and respect each other, but they
Mhm.
definitely can't, really be friends, but can they? So that
Yeah.
was a big influence on this one
Yeah.
also.
That sounds
Yeah.
really fun. Now I know Josh did read the arc for you, and now I can't wait
Yeah.
to read it. So when does it come out on audiobook again? Because I read almost
So they
exclusively on audio now.
Yeah, I just found out that they will be coming to audio officially, all four of
Yes.
them, so I'm super excited for that. But we haven't started recording yet, so probably later
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, it does take some time on that. As somebody who's put
Yeah.
books through audiobook publishing, it is an extensive process. So
And they'll probably be asking how to pronounce all of my planet names, so I probably need to figure that out pretty soon
A
too.
lexicon. Yeah.
yeah,
Be
you'll
like,
need to
just
have
do
that
your best, and
database.
that'll be the official one. Good
Exactly.
luck.
However you think it sounds good.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
so like, if you're allowed to say, um, these are two different publishers, and like, has the process been different for the space opera than it was for the romances, or like, what are the similarities and differences?
Yeah, it's been a lot different just because the romances are with one of the imprints at Penguin Random House. So it's, one of the big publishers, and they work very long timelines. So the book that I'm actually writing right now, the rough draft of, won't come out till 2025. One for
Oh
next
wow.
summer's already done, but the second one doesn't release until next month. So you're just looking at really long timelines, just because of the way the big houses work. As whereas with Aethon, it was basically they told me how fast can you write them? As soon as they're all written, we'll publish them, kind of thing. So
Oh, wow.
that's been one of the biggest differences. And the other is probably sort of the market. So because the romances are for young adults, those are heavy in libraries, schools, and things like that. Whereas Aethon knows their readership for sci-fi, and they do a lot of fantasy too, and it's more heavily in the Kindle
Mhm.
market. So there are paperbacks available, but the Kindle is obviously selling a lot more in that one, whereas the paperbacks do in the other one.
Hey, I've got a
They both,
rabbit.
yeah,
Yeah, I
they've
got
both
a
been great to work with.
yeah, I got a rabbit trail question for you. How'd you get on that kind of publishing path? Because we've had it anywhere from self-published to traditionally published authors on the show before, and kind of what made you just to go that route and etc.
Yeah, so when I first started writing, it's actually been almost, I started in 2009, seriously. And And back then, self-publishing wasn't quite as respected as it is now. It was kind of
That is
looked down
true,
on
yeah.
by a lot of people, and I knew I wanted it to be writing to be sort of a lifelong pursuit and a career if possible. And back then, self-publishing just wasn't, super viable for that. So I started down the traditional route, looking for an agent and all of that. And sometime in the middle of my search for an agent, I got one, and that didn't work out, and had to find another one. My new agent and I had 4 books on sub at one point, and just weren't getting any offers, and we weren't sure what was going to happen. And I did really start looking into the self-publishing, because at that point I had 8 or 10 books that I felt like were ready to get out there. But really, for me, I love the traditional route because I don't want to do all the business side of things. And so I really respect self-publishers who have to handle the cover design and the edits and the formatting and deciding the price points and putting it all on Amazon and things like that. And I really love that I don't have to worry about all of that. So for me, this is a great option.
I don't know if I'm going further off field or not, but this kind of segues into nicely. I kind of like all that stuff about self-publishing, except everybody altogether, marketing.
Marketing.
Yes.
So how does it work doing marketing with a traditional publisher? You probably, I assume, still have to do at least some of that yourself. And
Yeah, you still do. And it's different with each one. So the Penguin Random House does a lot of the like getting trade reviews for you, which is really great. I think my next one that's coming out in May is going to have like a blog tour or a Instagram tour, something like that.
Okay.
And they're the ones that can get in lots of libraries and bookstores, which is great. I try just for that to do social media stuff. Instagram's real big for the young adult market, so I try to do that, and I'll be on some more podcasts focused on the young adult contemporary romance side also. And then for the science fiction, Athon just has a really great, because they're like really growing in the science fiction fantasy market. So they have their own newsletter and marketing. We got a BookBub ad for the first one for a new release, which was really exciting. But then mostly I just kind of do the social media and a newsletter. And I like what people have said, do what interests you or what excites you or what you want to do. And if you aren't interested, don't worry about it so much. So like I haven't done the videos, TikTok or YouTube or any of that kind of stuff, but I try to at least do some basic social media. And I like podcasts. So I would much rather do this than go film myself doing TikTok videos. So
You don't have to worry so much about the Chinese government spying on your phone that way too.
well, hey,
it
that
feels more
could
fun
be
to
an
talk
advantage
to you
for
guys,
book
like-
marketing. You just make something.
Maybe.
You have a whole bunch of
Maybe.
Chinese government agents going, "Oh, this is really good."
Just need to get your stuff translated into Cantonese.
Yeah, apparently so.
Make a TikTok video, they'll do it for you.
And you don't have to learn how to do those weird dances.
Yeah, there will be no dancing. It's fun to sit down with fellow readers and book lovers and talk about books, but if I think about myself in front of a camera doing goofy things, just no thanks.
Some people are
Fair
really wired for that, and I can think of a half dozen people off the top of my head that are, and other people it's just like, no, you're a little too straight laced
Yeah,
for that.
then there's me that nobody wants to see dancers sing. Yeah, no.
You're Baptist. Do you really dance though?
No, not really. I'm terribly. I have no coordination either, so that's that's a bad idea.
And I had a question for you, and I just lost it. So if somebody else wants to pop in.
I also had a question and I lost it in talking about TikTok.
What's your favorite color?
Ocean blue.
Nice.
That is a specific answer.
Very
Yes.
specific.
It's like when you see those pictures of tropical oceans and you just like have to be there. So that's
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of one of my ideal pie in the sky dreams is, I'll sell a bajillion books and buy my own tropical island.
I think my husband's still holding out hope for retirement in the Italian Riviera, so we'll see about that.
That wouldn't be bad.
That would be nice.
I actually do remember what my question was. Kind of going back to the plots of the books. So is this set in like a Milky Way galaxy, or your books, or are they something out of your own mind? And how did you come up with the idea for it and the different planets and things?
Yeah, so it's set in just sort of an undetermined galaxy.
Okay.
And Josh has read this, so I wanted lots of planets because that's one of the things I love about space opera.
Mm-hmm.
All of
Mhm.
the planets are, not all of them, but a lot of them are sort of, I travel a lot, and so they're inspired either by places that I've been that I've sort of made into sci-fi things, or places I'd like to go, or cool places I've seen. And just rather than trying to figure out how I wanted to do faster than light travel, I just decided to make wormholes connecting all of the solar systems. And
Nice.
so kind of leading back actually, so your favorite color question was relevant, Aaron. So the wormholes are all colorful and they're all different, and so I had actually had a lot of fun studying sort of the science of colors, not so much color theory like what's calm or happy, but like the complementary or the opposing or the that kind
Mhm.
of thing. And so to kind of make a system of how dangerous the wormholes are based on the color patterns and things like that. So
That's kind of neat.
Interesting.
So,
I really love that aspect.
follow up
Sorry.
follow up question. Lots of wormholes. Do you have any Stargate references snuck in there?
there are not. It's actually probably
Aw.
the biggest inspiration was that I love Star Trek, obviously, and Deep Space Nine was always my favorite series, and so just the wormhole, the Bajoran wormhole, kind of
Yeah.
in my head as I was crafting sort of what they looked like. So
Cool.
Yeah, that was really neat, and I I don't want to give any spoilers, but I'll just say I really liked the aspect of how one of the characters loves the colors and that sort of thing. So it was cool, very
nice.
unique. So so you had mentioned that the second book is focusing on uh, that side character from the first book. Uh, is that the same way through the entire series? Is like each one focusing on a different aspect or a different viewpoint?
It is. So each there's 4 books, and each book has 2 point of view characters, and they're new for each one. But then the older characters still appear in the whole series. So by the end, by the 4th book, all 8 characters play big roles in the plot.
Ooh, neat.
Very
Kind of
cool.
wanted,
I
I
like
kind of
large
wanted to
ensemble
give,
casts.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I kind of wanted to play with like such a big galaxy and sort of a variety of people. So like the first one is a smuggler and a spy, and then we have a space pirate and a hacker, and then we have an athlete and a soldier, and then the final one is a diplomat and a saboteur. So it kind of let me do
Mm.
some cool stuff with different
That's an interesting
perspectives.
combination.
So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you have 3 galaxies and colonies from all of them, and there's sort of a revolution brewing. And so I wanted to sort of get different sides. So some who are independent, some who are from the colonies, some who are from the empires, and a little bit of everything to kind of give different perspectives on what's happening in the galaxy from various points of view.
A little
Diplomat and a
Andromeda-esque.
yeah, yeah. Diplomat and a saboteur. That's some interesting conversations there. Hey, we have this problem. Well, we'll talk away of it. No, no, no. We'll just blow it up. Wait a minute.
I thought it was a very fun way to end the series. We'll just say that. It was a
It
challenge to
sounds
write the
like it,
fourth
yeah.
book, but it was fun to write. So
Very cool.
Now, have you had pretty much full creative control over your stories once you got under contract, or have your publishers been kind of helping you, kind of giving you guardrails to stay on with the story?
yeah, so with this series, Aethon, I had the first book written, and they asked if I had a series planned because they like
Mhm.
series,
Yeah.
and I had a very rough draft of the second book written and kind of a very 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 loose idea of where the series could go. So I had to come up with pitches for books 2, 3, and 4, and they just pretty much let me write them. And then I had an editor that just helped clean them up at the end, but there was, yeah, pretty much it's what I wanted. And then for Penguin Random House, they've been really great. One of the questions I get a lot about working with a big publisher is a lot of people worried, is an editor going to change your story or make you do things? And they really have not. Like my editor there has been amazing, and she might make some suggestions, and we can discuss them if I don't like them. But so far, I've liked almost all of them. They haven't. I feel like her suggestions have really just enhanced things, made things better. And then we actually just finished a couple weeks ago, had the call for my 4th one that'll come out in 2025. And just sort of a pre-writing call for that one to just sort of make sure that we were on the same page for where it was going. But
Fourth one's
All
going to be in the
right.
same space opera series, right? just to make sure I'm.
I think she's referring to the YA contemporary romance.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
asking about. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the one I'm writing right now, is that fourth.
Okay.
You could always have like a shot of a bookshelf where there's this series of space opera books, but
um, so I know you mentioned when we were talking before the podcast that you wanted to discuss your newsletter. So what are you doing special with that? It sounds like it's a pretty big part of your marketing plan.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's huge yet, but I do try to do some special giveaways, give advance looks at things. So I actually have two
Mhm.
newsletters. So if you're only interested in one genre, you're getting updates on the genre that interests you. I did a giveaway for my science fiction newsletter. Just a random newsletter subscriber got a signed copy of the paperback of the first book.
Ooh.
I'll do for my contemporary newsletter. I'll be doing some swag in a few weeks for the next one of those that comes out, and newsletter subscribers can get that without pre-ordering. Did a free short
cool.
story a couple months ago, a sci-fi short story I had written. So just trying to.
Oh, there's another actual question there. With the traditional publisher, do they have to like pre-approve any swag, or do you just kind of do your own thing when it comes to that, or?
I can just do my own thing. They actually, for my first book, they made a bookmark for me, and then this time I designed one because I've gotten better at Canva, and just designed my own stuff, but bookmark and stickers and things like that. So
Yeah.
Excellent.
So once this space opera series is published, what are you working on next in the sci-fi genre?
I'm hoping we had two other science fiction books on submission. My agent and I
Mhm.
did when this one got the offer, and I'm
Okay.
hoping that Athon will want one of them that I have crafted now. It was originally going to be a standalone, but I crafted pitches for two more to make it a trilogy.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that they might be interested in that one. I also have a couple ideas for some maybe Shades of Starlight series spin-off type things.
Okay.
An
Oh,
idea
neat.
One's an idea I'd been toying with. We went on vacation a couple years ago, and just the place we went really inspired me, and I wanted to set something there in space, and I think that it might work really well as a prequel trilogy for this one, set in sort of the early days of the galaxy when they've just discovered the wormholes and space travel is still fairly new.
Oh,
But that's still sort of in early planning stages, but hoping that might be a future series as well.
Do you think that's something that Athon might pick up?
Yeah, I'm hopeful. Kind of waiting to see how the first couple months go with this series, and if it looks like it's going well, then we've sent them the pitches for that other one, which is an unrelated futuristic kind of thing, Space Bounty Hunter.
okay.
Cool.
Very cool.
So do you have anything you'd like to add that you want the listeners to know about, or anything?
Oh man, I'm just grateful to hang out with you guys and talk science fiction. So I know all of
Okay.
you
We
guys
could
love
probably
it
do
too.
that all
So
day.
Yeah, I
yeah, I
mean,
know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
what are you reading right now, Becky? I
Am
mean,
I
is it you're
reading right
reading?
now?
Are you reading anything good?
I just finished a fantasy book called The Stardust Thief, which was really good.
Who is that by?
Chelsea Abdullah, I think. It's like a Middle Eastern 1001 Nights inspired, and it was really
Oh, cool.
good.
Oh, very
So,
cool.
not sure what's next on my Kindle. But
The
reading that,
never end.
watching. What am I watching? I
Yeah.
was going to say I'm watching, The Mandalorian.
Obviously, everybody's
And
watching Mandalorian right
yeah,
now.
who's
I
not?
need to get to that.
Um,
It's on my. I need to get
And
to season
Ahsoka
3
comes in
for that.
August.
Ooh,
yeah,
excited
so I like your
about that
shirt.
for sure. Yeah.
Um,
I think that was a Valentine's Day present or something.
yes.
um, so, I mean, not to go spoilery or anything. I mean, this is season 3 of The Mandalorian. Is there anything that has been in the show that surprised you so far this season?
Season has been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's felt like a shift away from Din Djarin and Grogu to sort of the Mandalorians plural,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
which I don't necessarily object to because Bo-Katan has been great and Katie Sackhoff is always brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
The last one, I won't give spoilers, but this last week's episode had some interesting cameos I was definitely not expecting in the Star Wars
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah.
But it was still interesting. Yeah, so it's just been, I love.
Uh-oh.
We lose you?
Yeah.
Sort of making
Up
a
there?
Yeah,
galaxy, so I
we
loved.
we lost you for a second there, Becky.
Oh, my computer's making noises. Sorry. Am I back?
Your
You appear to
audio
be
is
back,
back.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, your audio is back.
So yeah, so I love just sort of that lone gunslinger making his way through the galaxy sort of feel. So I liked the original seasons that had that. But I love the Star Wars universe in general. So this season has had some really great planets. I really love settings in stories, and so I've really liked some of the planets that they've been to. Always enjoy seeing a new cool spaceship and things like that. So
Yeah. So,
Well,
and then of course, yesterday the Ahsoka trailer dropped, which I know you're not as much of an Ahsoka fan as, that one in that corner over there.
well, to be fair, I do like Ahsoka. It's just that I haven't seen all of Clone Wars, so I
True.
think she is great, and I'm excited for the show. I will definitely watch it.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun in August. So I think we may have to do a wrap up on that when that drops, because I know somebody is going to be extremely excited in this particular chat room.
To see if I can make time in the next few months to watch all of Clone Wars. We'll see if that happens.
Well, we
Clone
can.
Wars, I mean, they're short episodes, so they're like 20, 25 minutes long. So
Yeah.
other than like the final, it didn't take me that long to go through it. So Rebels is important though. They'll need to watch Rebels.
All right, we could keep talking about this all day, but we are a little past a half hour. Do we want to let you go and get back to writing more, or?
I actually don't write on weekends. I try to take weekends off. So.
Okay.
Oh,
Weekends are about the
that's
only
a good
time I
plan.
get to write. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So up next is just waiting for the upcoming releases and seeing where these spin-offs take you. As I understand it.
Yeah, so upcoming we'll have the second book in the series comes out this month in like about a week and a half, and then the third book in May and the fourth in June. And then my next contemporary book comes out in May also.
Okay.
So just sort of a few months of busy with releases, and then the rest of this year writing my next YA contemporary romance, and then hoping that Ethan will want to do another sci-fi series, and I can get to work on those.
And then what are the names of the upcoming titles?
Book 2 is called Pirate's Code.
Okay.
And book 3 is called Shadow Games. And then book 4 is called Final Break.
Okay. And that's under B.L. Dean, is that correct?
That's correct. All on Amazon Shades of Starlight series.
Okay. Cool. We'll put some links in.
Also, speaking of your newsletter, where do people go to sign up for that?
Yeah, you can go to beckydeanwrites.com.
We'll have a link in the podcast notes.
And hopefully it'll be spelled correctly.
Then, like I said, if you like the sci-fi, you can click B.L. Dean. If you like the contemporary, you can click Becky Dean. Or if you just want everything, you can click both.
Nice.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people out there that do read both, so.
I mean, I do, obviously. So.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people ask me, what kind of books do you read? And yes, all of them.
Yes.
Pretty much. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
So thank you so much for being willing to come on to this, professional podcast. And
Professionals,
talk
where?
about, yeah.
Hey, I have a degree in journalism.
Okay,
so
one
she's
professional.
We have one professional.
We know who to blame now.
So, yeah, thank you for coming on and chatting. And we're going to welcome you back sometime in the future again. Anything else that you want to say to our listeners?
I just want to say thank you
off?
guys for having me. Yeah, it's always fun to come hang out with you guys, and appreciate it. And
yeah, thanks for
you're
being here.
for the first book on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're friends, or we're friends with you, and we love having you on. So whenever you want to come back on, just let us know.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to all our listeners, and if anybody's actually watching live on Twitch, Thank you. We'll see
And
you later
and if
today, actually.
Yeah, actually, we have
Yes.
another show this afternoon if you're watching live or listening live with Kara Swanson. And I just put that on our Facebook page, and I can't remember the name of her series, but she'll be on with us here in a few hours. So
Yep.
check
Dust
that
and
out for sure.
Shadow. Her books
Oh,
are called
That's
Dust and Shadow, and
Yeah,
they're
it's
very good.
Yep.
Air to Neverland, I think.
Yeah,
I
something like
think
that.
that's
They're
right.
they're
Yeah.
modern day Peter Pan, yeah.
Yeah,
And Karen's lovely. So
I literally just looked that up like an hour and a half ago. I can't remember
Yes.
now. So
So we will see you guys, or see you later,
yep.
Becky, and uh, see you later, listeners.
Later.
thanks, guys.